At the time of its release, Super Mario Galaxy was the most linear 3D Mario game. Not that it had much competition. Super Mario 64 was incredibly open-ended, and then Super Mario Sunshine was even more open than that. So with Galaxy, things took a retro turn, turning the focus away from exploration and towards just getting to the end. But despite that, Super Mario Galaxy hides its linearity well. Most of the time when we drop into a level, we don't have much of an idea of where we'll end up as we move along. The planets might be so spaced out that it feels like we could be taken any which way, even if, under the hood, we're being guided along a carefully constructed path. However, the galaxy we're going to be talking about today makes no such misconceptions. What we see from the viewer in the dome is exactly what we get. It's a galaxy that makes no effort to hide its linearity. In fact, it fully embraces it. It hugs its linear approach so hard that we can practically feel it squeezing us. So let's take a closer look and dive headfirst into the Sea Slide Galaxy. Our first mission is going after Guppy, and we'll see the introduction of a new villain who I'm actually quite sympathetic for. More sympathetic for than most Toads, in fact. The visuals and the music of the Sea Slide Galaxy match up directly with those of the Beach Bowl Galaxy, but the connection goes deeper than them just being both beach levels. I mentioned this back in the Beach Bowl video, but originally these two galaxies were supposed to be the same one, as we can see from this concept art. The main planet of the Beach Bowl Galaxy would fit in the center of the Sea Slide ring, but I'm happy that they split these up so they can each have their own identity. The first thing we want to do in this galaxy is actually run backwards, where we'll find a Sling Star which will take us up to the Star Shroom, where we can get a nice look at everything. Plus, it's just fun to do some long jumps. Once we're back on land, we can take a look at the situation that's got everyone flustered. Apparently, this is a penguin-only swim zone because they're all bent out of shape that there's someone else in the water. I find it funny how few characters refer to Guppy as a hooligan. It's a very 1940s way of describing someone.
Sorry, Mario, we're not able to get to the Power Star. That rapscallion's causing a commotion.
I'll admit it, when we meet Guppy, he is creepy looking. His eyes are entirely too big and his teeth are entirely too numerous. In terms of video game orcas, I'd happily take the one from Sonic Adventure, or even the one from Sonic 06 over him. And yes, he's being a bit of a jerk saying that the sea belongs to him, but really, where is he supposed to go? It's just one big ring, so are these penguins hoping to just shove him out of it and let him fall into the void? Killer whales are an endangered species, and I'm not going to be on board with letting Mario commit any crimes against nature here, no matter how ugly this one might be. But as creepy as Guppy looks, at least he's willing to cut us a deal, giving us a challenge to swim through 8 rings. Frankly, if this is something the penguins have already tried to do and failed, I don't think they deserve to be in this ocean to begin with. This is a mission where Mario's ability to spin constantly underwater really comes in handy, at least until we're able to pick up a shell. At that point, the objective becomes very easy, and we can cruise through basically just on autopilot. The rings are big enough that we don't have to try too hard not to miss them. The biggest challenge might actually be the fact the red shell goes too fast, and we'll find ourselves catching up to Guppy in a way that makes seeing the rings difficult. Thankfully, we can just hit the brakes on the shell to mitigate this, which gives me the opportunity to point out that I really like the brake lights on the back. It doesn't make any logical sense, sure, but it's functional, and makes what we're doing very clear. This galaxy is placed about 2/3 of the way through the game, so I do think the designers could have made this more challenging. Maybe put the rings in harder to reach or more risky areas, or make them disappear if we don't pass through them quickly enough. This isn't even the first time we've used a shell underwater at this point, so it's not really testing us on a new skill. It's just reiterating what we already know. Once we pass through all the rings, not only does Guppy cede control of the ocean, but also gives us a star. None of these other guys are giving us a star, so who's really the bad guy here? I hope you liked going through the course with a shell in this mission, because that's exactly what we'll be doing in the next mission. This next star is titled Faster Than a Speeding Penguin, so you can probably guess what the objective will be. While the course we race through remains pretty much exactly the same, there are differences in this starting area that I'd like to point out. First off, I have to call attention to this Toad, who claims he's building a cannon. How swinging a pickaxe against a single spot on a blue tarp will somehow produce a cannon, I have no idea. But if Minecraft has taught me anything, it's that pickaxes are able to make a lot more than you'd expect, so I won't completely doubt him. Guppy is friendly now, which helps confirm my suspicion that he's not really a bad guy. He's just misunderstood. He even gives us some advice, which is something that none of the penguins are kind enough to do. So I'd say he's at worst an anti-hero. Speaking of the penguins, the way they all have different colors here reminds me of Club Penguin. Now, I was an OG Club Penguin player, so I think my opinion here has some credibility. I don't want to get off topic from Mario Galaxy for too long, but I think it's worth saying that Club Penguin was the original metaverse. Facebook, Google, Twitter, they're all just trying to create what Club Penguin had 20 years ago. Club Penguin was Fortnite before Fortnite. Anyways, I'd also like to point out this specific penguin, which is the one we have to talk to start the race. I like how they gave him the big yellow eyebrows to make him stick out, just like some real penguins have. And did you know that these penguins are called macaroni penguins? I only found that out when I was looking up photos to use in this video. I don't think there's ever been an animal name I've loved more than macaroni penguin. Also, I have no idea why this Koopa is here. At first, I thought we could start off the race with the shell right away by taking it from him and bringing it to the macaroni penguin, but nope. The game just takes it away. I thought I was being clever by doing this, but it would seem the game has made a fool of me once again. Once we get in the race, it's pretty much the same thing as last time. I like the music, definitely, but yeah, the course is pretty much the same as before. Once we pass the finish line, we're awarded with a gold medal, which is actually see-through because I've already gotten the star, but either way, the mission is over. And that'll bring us to the final mission in the Seaslide Galaxy, the Silver Stars of Seaslide. There's not a ton of them, but I enjoy the Silver Star missions. It takes a similar concept to looking for the gold and blue star chips, but amplifies the importance of each item we pick up. We know for a fact that each silver star we pick up will directly lead us to a gold star. Well, in this case, a transparent star, but still a star. In this mission, we'll still be on the main ring, but won't be spending any time in the water. In fact, this penguin lets us know right away that there are not any silver stars in the water. I appreciate the game letting us know what not to waste our time on right up front. It would be frustrating to go through the entire ocean, looking under every rock and sea urchin, trying to find silver stars that just aren't there. Bees from the Honey Hive and Gold Leaf galaxies also appear here. They say they're on vacation, but frankly, I think they're just here to supervise Mario while he has the bee suit. They probably don't want him doing anything unsightly in it without their approval. This is the first time the bee mushroom appears in a main galaxy outside of the two that are heavily bee themed. I love the power-up, so personally, I welcome the addition. Using it to carefully cross gaps over the top of the water is a great use for it that we haven't seen before. It lets us see this galaxy, which we're already familiar with, in a new light. We don't need to stay as a bee to complete the level, but it's fun to hold on to the suit for as long as we can. The first silver star we'll grab is on top of this stone archway, and from there we can make our way to the island where the race started during the last mission. One thing I like about the setup of this level is how some of the characters will point out to us where the silver stars are, but only the ones that are far away. This penguin points out this one in the sky, this penguin points out this one on top of the tree, this penguin points out this one on the center planet, and then this penguin points out this one by the lighthouse. It's a nice way of getting us back on track if we can't find one, but never just pointing out the obvious. Over here, we can see the one toad from the last mission actually ended up successfully building a cannon. Nice job, buddy. I definitely believed in you. The cannon will lead up to the star shroom. The long jump is disabled when we have the bee suit, so sadly we can't go for any full orbits here. However, at least we can grab another silver star. This bonus one up at the end can be tricky to grab. We have to get a lot of speed built up with the pole stars to the left, and then slingshot ourselves past the last one to get it. I eventually got it here, but it took me a few tries. Now we're 2/5 of the way there, so it's time to head towards the lighthouse. Here's where you'll see me discover, after playing this game so many times over so many years, that we cannot hold Koopa shells while we have the bee suit. I don't know how I never knew this before. This is the only mission in the entire game where both the bee mushroom and Koopa shells are present, so I guess it's an easy thing to miss if we don't happen to try it. But I don't understand why they wouldn't let us. I guess there's just some things that even Mario can't do. When we do get the Koopa shell, it might be disappointing to find out that the chest we can open with it doesn't contain a silver star, just some star bits. This goes into a larger gripe I have with Super Mario Galaxy. The appearance of these treasure chests imply that there's something worth treasuring inside them. A good amount of them will have 1-ups or life mushrooms, which is great, but way too many will either reward us with some star bits or a coin. And after we've made the effort of finding a Koopa shell, bringing it over, and launching into the chest, we want our hard work to be recognized with something substantial. We don't want to just be given something we could find lying around any other place with no struggle to get it. But to speak more specifically on this one, it would have made more sense to have the silver star in this chest, rather than where it currently is above the palm tree. It's just floating here like most of the others, so having one of them in the chest would have added variety. But c'est la vie, whatever that means. The top of the lighthouse is also just out of reach from us when we have the bee suit. There's nothing up there, but sometimes it can be fun to try to get to places we aren't supposed to get to, even if it doesn't work out. This island that we're on is actually the end of the line on this section of the ring, so it's time to head back to the start and work our way around. The next thing to do is to make our way through this tree. Its geometry and shape feels a lot more organic than most other parts of Mario Galaxy. The majority of the other planets and structures feel very carefully streamlined for Mario to traverse, but this one doesn't feel like it caters to the player in that way. This provides a nice change of pace, but unfortunately it means the camera can do some weird things. Overall, I've come to the conclusion that Super Mario Galaxy's camera works very well when it does work, but if there's just the slightest issue, everything falls apart. After we prove ourselves as the alpha bug of the Mario universe by taking down these spiders, the fourth silver star will be ours, and now it's time to grab the last one. To get to the round planet in the middle of the ring, we've got to unscrew this nozzle, then ride the wave along. This is clever design, because it both provides us a method of transportation and serves as a way to get rid of the bee suit. The tropical vibes continue on to this central planet. The musical note challenge here is also one of the better ones, playing the underwater theme of the original Super Mario Bros. Yes, the Beach Bowl Galaxy did the exact same thing, but I'll never get sick of thematically connected nostalgia. From this sign at the top, we can discover that the old penguin here is named Penguru, which is a more clever name than it has any right to be. It actually sticks out as more of a real name than we often see in the Mario series. It carries a level of individuality much higher than most other tertiary characters in these games see. Any other character that comes close to bordering on an original idea remains stifled with the most sanitized, cookie-cutter names that the development team can justify, usually just being their role and then the creature that they are. There's additional humor in the fact that from the name Penguru, we'd expect some wise, elderly sage who's about to impart Mario with some insightful life advice. But instead, he's just an old man who has no idea what's going on. And as long as he remains this clueless, I'm sure he won't miss this silver star. Once we grab it, we're gifted with this launch star, which will take us to this sling star, which will take us to this power star. You know, as much as I like the classic aspect of collecting stars to save Peach, I'm happy that some Mario games changed up their celestial objects, like the Shine Sprites in Sunshine or the Moons in Odyssey. Sometimes the Mario games can be a little star heavy, and so that just about does it for the Seaslide Galaxy. While I like it, I wish there was more there. The concept of the ocean being one big ring is a cool one, but with how it doesn't branch out from that too much, I think there's potential that goes unrealized. The fact that the first two missions are so similar gives me the impression that not enough thought was gone into taking the concept of the galaxy they had and really running with it. At a minimum, I think it would have made more sense to have the Silver Star collecting mission be the second one, so at least there would have been a breakup in between the two swimming missions. But I think what I would have preferred above all else would be something that could get us away from the main ring planet. Something that would make us want to get back there. If the developers had been willing to shift things around some, I think the Cyclone Stone from the Beach Bowl Galaxy would have fit in really well here. The open-ended nature of Beach Bowl means it already has enough stuff in it to justify staying there for all three missions. So if the Seaside Galaxy had been the Penguin Race, then the Cyclone Stone, then the Silver Stars, I think it would be a much more complete package. As I've established before, the Seaslide and the Beach Bowl Galaxies were at one point connected, but I think they continue to mirror each other even in their current states. For both galaxies, the first mission is swimming, then the second one is swimming again, but against penguins, and then the third is something else entirely. When you put them side by side like this, it's hard not to see them as competitors, and unfortunately for Seaslide, I'd say Beach Bowl is the clear winner. But there is something to be said for staying on one planet for the duration of all three missions, which is something that no other galaxies do. And the third mission is a definite highlight of the game. There's a collaborative atmosphere it brings, with the penguins, toads, bees, and Guppy all looking for the silver stars together. But as always, it's time to move on to the next galaxy. And if Seaslide didn't do it for you in terms of bringing something new to the table, this next galaxy will bring a new table and new plates and silverware while we're at it. So look forward to the next video in the series, where we'll be taking down robots, having an existential crisis, and putting ourselves through pain for no good reason in the Toy Time Galaxy. And by the way, this next video on the Toy Time Galaxy, it's my favorite one I've made in this series, so you should definitely check it out. I hope you'll join me there.